Hey Scott, it's not Valyok, it's Val. I'm sorry, I must have made it clear. Well, I should have made it clear. Um, yeah, so just Val is good. Um, Man, thanks a lot for taking time to respond, and I know you were hesitating, and I understand your hesitation now because I have nothing on my profile and nothing in the video about where I'm actually coming from. So in this video I will say where I'm coming from, and I also say why I can't agree with you in that video, and yeah, so I'll try to do these two things, and later in the second video I'll say about consciousness and whether it is possible for it to exist in time, no, outside of time. Okay, now to your argument. So about myself, Scott, I'm a theist, specifically Christian theist, and I think it is a reasonable worldview, and I'm interested in topics of theism, atheism, theology, and there are a lot of videos on YouTube about that, and I was watching some of them. I found yours. It appeared to be very well done. Yeah, but I want to tackle the topic from a philosophical point of view. I know you make some like your arguments have some theological implications, as you say. I don't want to touch upon that because I rather talk about just whether belief in God reasonable at all, and then we can jump into talking about theology of like what exactly this God is and whether he revealed himself in a way that Christians or Muslims or some other religious people tell. So yeah, I'm coming from that position, and philosophically more I'm coming from a position of classical theism. You can look it up on the internet, but basically this is a like philosophical position held by Jews, Muslims, Christians, and it's pretty old, and a lot of people writing stuff from that perspective, even now and even before. So yeah, this is about me, and I'll try to tackle your video and your arguments in the video from that perspective. Alright, Scott, digging into your arguments. Alright, you say that I say that God is creator of everything but himself. That's true, and he doesn't have quality or attribute in common with his creation. That is also true, but I want to say something about that a bit later. And you say that, well, it's unfounded, unverifiable, unfalsifiable, because yeah, I'm just speculating, you say. You give an example of paintings and painters, sculptures and sculptors. But the analogy doesn't really apply here, because what painters and sculptors do, they give the pre-existent matter a different form. They work on something to engineer something else. God is a different kind of creator. He's creating something out of nothing, and I guess you would agree that universe did have a beginning. So if it did, then it must have a cause. I believe God is the cause of it. So that's why that's why God brought it about that space and time exist. They didn't exist before the universe began to exist, and in order for something to account as a cause of space-time, it must be distinct of space-time. That's why I think God can exist outside of time and space. But to your unfounded, unverifiable, unfalsifiable statement, I wonder if you thinking that this three characterize an unreasonable belief, just mere speculation. Sorry. Well, then if that's the criteria for being reasonable, being founded, verifiable, falsifiable. I guess by founded you mean there's evidence for that. But then it just itself is not reasonable then, because you believe that a reasonable belief must be founded, verifiable, falsifiable. Well, it doesn't hold. It doesn't satisfy its own preconditions, and hence it cannot be a criteria for reasonable belief. And then you say that God is immune to all the preconditions of existence to which we all are subject. First of all, I don't know what the preconditions are. You didn't specify. But yes, God is immune, and based on what I said before, He's not that kind of creator like painters and sculptors are. And concerning the burden of proof, you're right. I do have a burden, but the thing is that there are two burdens. One is on you, one is on me. Because later you say that the only kind of existence there is spatio-temporal. And then also you said that, yes, I am making a negative claim, and I can't back it up empirically, but I can use logic, reasoning, observation to make a conclusion that nothing can exist outside of time and space. Well, there's a contradiction in that statement. First, you say not empirically, but blah blah blah, and observation. Well, observation is empirical, but even if you eliminate empirical observation out of this statement, then you need to use logic and reasoning to say that the only kind of existence there is spatio-temporal. Well, I don't know. I can't just believe you. You need some argument for that, I guess. And then you say also that if God is independent of time, He is unconscious, and it is inherently true. I don't know what you mean here by inherently, as well as in nothing can be conscious and outside of time, since the two are inherently self-contradictory. Well, first, I guess by inherently you mean necessarily true. And but self-contradictory, like two propositions cannot be self-contradictory because they can be only contradictory, but because there are two of them, a proposition can be contradictory. So you say that then what happens is that nothing can be conscious and outside of time because the two are contradictory. Well, you have to show me why it is so again. I don't see why. Based on what we see, how we think animals are conscious of certain activities of theirs, we can say yes, there's no consciousness independent of time in our world, in our universe. Well, again, then it's just becoming question begging, because you just define that existence is only spatio-temporal, and therefore the only type of consciousness is in time and space. Well, it is in time. I think there needs to be some more argumentation for that. But then you also accuse me of changing the definition of existence. Well, yes, but then again, question begging. You just assert your definition, and then you say, well, if you don't agree with that, then you're I'm changing the definition. Well, I don't agree with your definition. That's why I'm changing it. Am I making it wishy-washy? Well, I don't think so. I think it's reasonable to believe if the universe began to exist, it must have a cause, and therefore we can say that something can, or even does, exist outside of time. Then he also said the concept of creation, doing something, is solve this world, so that they take time. So if I say that God did something, created something, then He must be in time. Otherwise, it's just not possible. Again, you need to back it up. God is not like the creation, I say. His acts of creation and doing and even thinking and desiring are not like ours. So that's why I think you need to back it up. And you say it's fine if I want to believe in a timeless God. Well, it's not that I want to believe in timeless God. It's just that God, the only reasonable way to think about God, if there is one, is for Him to be timeless. So yeah, I will tell you a bit more about consciousness and its possibility of existing outside of time in the next video. It will be shorter, hopefully, and I'll be reading from one of the books that I read, and I think I find it convincing, or at least not an absurdity. So yeah, man, let me know what you think about it, if it makes sense, or if it doesn't, let me know, and if it does, let me know too. Okay, thanks, Scott.